Hello there. Today I thought we'd have great fun reading a book that I really love. It's called Rudolph's Missing Antlers. And afterwards, I thought we'd have even more fun by creating our own Rudolph. It's actually one that we can wear. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to change the camera so you can see the book and follow along with me. Okay, can you see that? Okay. Rudolph's Missing Antlers by Thomas Faison. One cold winter's evening in northern Lapland, the reindeer had gathered to practice their plans. There was Prancer and Dancer and Blitzen there too, with Rudolph in place at the front of the queue. Can you see him with his little red nose? What's he missing though? Then, when all of a sudden Santa arrived with a big hearty laugh and with elves at his side. It's getting near Christmas, Santa remarked, so we need to be ready before we embark. Well, Rudolph knew best. He had practiced all year. He polished his nose and he cleaned out his ears. He'd cut out his long nails and he brushed his white teeth. He had changed both his socks and he'd washed all his briefs. When Santa inspects us, I know I'll impress, from the state of my fur to the way I am dressed. I've practiced my flying, I've tidied the hangers, I've plotted a course, and I've mounted my, oh dear, my antlers, they're missing, Rudolph exclaimed. This morning, I'm sure, he explained. They were here, right on my head. Well, they can't have gone far. I'll retrace my steps till I find where they are. So Rudolph walked back through the route he had been to see if his antlers his friends might have seen. He bumped into Elf down a long corridor. Well, hi there, young Rudolph. What are you looking for? Oh, Elf, can you help me? My antlers are gone. They're hard and they're brown and they're really quite long. I need them for balance. I need them to fly. I need them when high up in Christmas Eve sky. I'm sorry, dear Rudolph, said Elf with a frown. Do you recall where you last put them down? I'll help you retrace all your steps from the day. I'll follow behind you if you lead the way. So Rudolph and Elf, with eyes peeled wide, resumed Rudolph's journey further inside. On the factory floor, amidst all of the noise, they bumped into Rabbit, designing new toys. And can you help me? My antlers are gone. They're hard and they're brown and they're really quite long. I need them for balance and I need them to fly. I need them when high up in Christmas Eve sky. I'm sorry, said Rabbit. I haven't a clue. But as it's important, I know what I'll do. I'll follow you round, smiled Rabbit. With glee, I'll help you to search. You'll do better with me. So Rabbit and Rudolph and Elf started off to find Rudolph's antlers where they'd fallen off. They checked in the cupboards and under the stairs, when who should appear? Only Tim Teddy Bear. Tim, can you help me? My antlers are gone. They're hard and they're brown and they're really quite long. I need them for balance and I need them to fly. I need them when higher in Christmas Eve sky. Well, Tim racked his brains. His memory was dim. Don't think I've seen them, said Teddy Bear Tim. But I'd like to help you as you search around. We're quicker with more of our boots on the ground. Rudolph sighed lightly in silent despair. But already looked here, there, and everywhere. There was only one place they still had to check. Santa's own office. They hadn't checked yet. So sheepishly Rudolph knocked on the door. "Come in," said Santa. "What can I do you for?" The door trickled open, and Santa appeared with his red and white suit and his long fluffy beard. On his nose he wore specs. On his head was a hat. And you'll never guess what he had on top of that. I bet you can guess. "My antlers! You have them!" Rudolph exclaimed. "I never thought I'd see them ever again. They're hard and they're brown and they're really quite long. But Santa, on you they look ever so wrong." I'm just going to change the camera. I hope you enjoyed that book. It's a lovely book and it ends really funny with Santa wearing Rudolph's antlers. Well, I thought, like I said earlier, that we could make our own antlers like this and we could wear them and we could pretend to be Rudolph. Okay, so shall we have a go? I'll write underneath all the things that you need to make them. And that sometimes are things that you can make that are make it slightly easier. I'm just going to put this card down. I'm going to change the camera so you can see my hands again. Okay. Okay, so here we go then. So what we have then is some brown card. This is quite light because the antlers are going to be a little bit darker than this, but use whatever you can, and that's absolutely fine. It doesn't really matter what colour you use. And what I've done here in pencil is I've drawn a shape, and this is the shape of Rudolph's nose. Can you see that? Not his nose, his head. And can you see it's straight at the bottom and it goes round about. And it's really as tall as it is wide. Okay, let's put that to the side again for the moment. So I'm just going to follow this around again. I think if you had a ruler, if you wanted to measure it, you might want to make it smaller, but it's something like around about 12, 13 centimeters wide and probably about the same tall as well. But like I said, it's more of a round shape. So I'm just going to draw the round as possible. Again, it does not have to be perfect. Just try your best to create a shape like that. As you say, mine's not perfect, but I'm going to now cut round that shape. And I'm going to be really careful to try and cut close to that as I can, close to that line as I can. And there we have a nice shape for Rudolph's head. And now we've got that, we really need to draw some eyebrows. So somewhere around about at the top, not too high, around about here, want to draw two shapes like that. Or a little bit different, that's okay. And make them a little bit wide as well. These are very cute. And I'm going to colour that shape in as well. You can use a black pencil, or if you have felt tips, you can use felt tips as well. Or if you have black card, you might want to use black card, which is absolutely fine. So use whatever you have at home. There we go, nearly finished. Don't worry too much if they're not quite the same as each other. It's about having fun, not trying to be perfect. Okay, so that's my eyes done. What I'm going to do now is put a nose on. And I have some cream card here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw an oval shape. And it's probably around about 3 centimeters, maybe slightly bigger. And I'm going to draw an oval shape, and I'm going to cut that out. First of all, I'm just going to make it slightly smaller. So what I'm cutting out isn't as big. I find that quite useful. I'm going to try again to cut round as carefully as I can around that shape. Turning the paper as I cut as well. That helps me keep my control of the scissors. And when I've got that shape, I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to put it on for his nose. And it's actually going to be for a nose to go on top of it as well. So it's a little bit like his is placed under his nose. Let me show you. Okay, can you see that? Okay. There we go. And his nose sits on top of it. Well, I think maybe I've probably done mine a little bit too small. So I think I'm going to just make my next one a little bit bigger and see if I can make it better. That's entirely up to you if you decide to do that yourself. But I think I'm going to try and make it a little bit bigger. Okay. I quite like the idea. Sometimes trying these more than once if you're not happy with it. But like I said before, it doesn't matter if each one is a little bit different. There we go. I'm just going to put that one on just there. Okay. There, like that. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do some cheeks. You can use pink paper if you'd like to, or you can use on a little bit of white paper, you could use colouring pencils and maybe make 2 pink cheeks out of colouring pencils. This is tissue paper I found. And I was going to draw just roughly around about the same kind of shape as what you've done so far with the cream paper. And I'm going to cut those out. Quite tricky, the tissue paper. But you can use whatever you've got at home. Okay. Now I've got those 2 ready. So I'm going to put those, glue those on the side of his nose. Okay, so there's one just here. Like that. And here's the other one coming. I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the back of that bit of tissue. And one just there. Okay. One either side. What we're going to do now, we're going to make the antlers. And the shape of the antlers is a little bit like a Y shape. Okay. And what I did to do that was I took a bit of brown card, and I folded it in half, because when you draw one and cut them out, that means you've got 2. And the shape that I actually used was something like this. Let me show you. I folded it in half, and it's a little bit like this. So it's like a bubble effect Y. But this is okay, because no matter what shape you do, as long as it's got roughly around about the same shape, each range is different. So it doesn't matter if it's exactly the same or not. And then cut them out of the card. I've actually already done 2. You can see already. I'll cut them out. So I should have, when I open my card up, I should have 2 exactly the same. And you can just turn them around. There we go. So I'm just going to glue those on the back. One that way and one that way. Can you see the opposite ways? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to glue the bottom part of the antler just here, there, and the bottom part just here. And I'm going to tuck the head in like that. Okay. And I just press down nicely like that. So that's 2 antlers. And now you need to do the ears as well, because not only does the ears have antlers, and Rudolph also has some ears because he needs to be able to hear what Father Christmas is saying to him. So what I've done with some brown paper, I have cut out 2 ears. And the shapes of these are just shapes like this. Let me show you. So using folded piece of paper again, I have just done this kind of shape. Like that. And I'm going to cut both of those out, and you will see and I cut them out. They're this kind of shape. And you're going to glue, of course, you're going to do yours on brown paper. You're going to glue those on either side of the antlers, one there and one the other side just over here. So using the glue just to do the very, very edge, the straight edge of the ears, you're going to tuck it underneath and you're going to press down. And the same with the other one, you're going to glue just the edge and you're going to tuck it underneath again and press down. It would also very nice actually if you have some cream ones. Can you see here? And it just shows off the inside of Rudolph's ears, one just there and one just there. So we're going to do the same shape but smaller. So I'm going to use the card again and don't need it quite as big this time. I'm going to do a smaller shape, exactly the same as before. I'm just going to cut round there. And because I've used a folded piece, I've got two, it's actually the same. So I need to glue those on as well. I'm going to glue one at a time. I'm going to tuck it underneath just before it dries completely. It doesn't matter if it's dry because you can always just tuck it next to the head if not. And you're going to place that onto Rudolph's ear there. And then exactly the same with the other one, you're going to glue the whole back of the ear and tuck it in to the side like that. There we go. Then we've got his ears looking beautiful now. And now what we need to do is to put on Rudolph's nose. So he has to have a nose, doesn't he? You can either use a red piece of card and draw a circle, or you can use a pom-pom like my own, or you can use a white piece of paper and colour it in red and cut it out as well. Well, I'm going to use a pom-pom for mine. And I'm going to use plenty of glue because I have a habit of falling off, especially before they dry. Okay, I'm going to firmly press that down. Now what you need now is, he looks absolutely fantastic, but what is missing now is a strap so you can put it around your head. And what I've actually got is a long piece of brown paper, but you can use 2 A4 pieces of brown paper and just sellotape them or glue them together. But I've got a long piece just here, and I'm just going to make mine quite thick, or the band quite thick. So I'm going to draw a mark across there, and I'm going to follow that along, all the way along there. And I'm going to clip that out. You can make it as thick as you like, really. All the way around. Okay, now what we're going to have to do now is to put it in the middle. If you use 2 pieces of paper, you won't have to do that. And you're going to glue either side of Rudolph's band. So what you need to do is glue one side just here, and you're going to press it down underneath Rudolph's head, just like that. And you're going to do exactly the same the other side. Tuck it in. Can you see how I've lined it up with Rudolph's head? And then what you're going to do, you're going to measure your child's head. And whatever your child's head size is, you're going to measure it and then glue it or sellotape it in the right place. With mine, I did earlier, I actually measured my own head and I glued it down. I glued around here and tried it on. So let's have a go, shall we? I'm going to change the camera so we can do that together. Hi. Right, let's have a go, shall we? I did try it on very briefly, didn't I, when we started? Let's try again, see if it works again. There we go. There we are. Now I have my Rudolph. Now I have a spare one as well, so I'm hoping I can put this on somebody else's head, and maybe we can play Rudolph together. That'd be great, wouldn't it? I hope you've had fun making Rudolph today. And it's just as well our Rudolph found his antlers. Could we put them on ourselves, wouldn't we? I hope you've had fun listening to the story and making Rudolph. And I also hope that you have the most fantastic Christmas this year and that Santa brings you loads of toys. Merry Christmas, everybody.